Welcome to today's edition of Crypto Corner at InvestorIdeas.com, news on what's driving the cryptocurrency market. This podcast is sponsored by Integrated Ventures, Inc. Integrated Ventures, Inc. engages in digital currency mining operations, manufactures equipment, sells mining rigs, and develops blockchain software. Integrated Ventures, Inc. is traded on the OTC under the ticker symbol INTV. Hello everyone, this is Sam Mowers here, and welcome to episode 507 of the Crypto Corner podcast. For news today, Bitcoin seems to be holding a steady trading price. The ECB's president has called for global Bitcoin regulation. Diginex has entered agreements for a private placement, and CryptoStar has signed an LOI for the acquisition of GPU miners. Just before we jump into today's show, though, a quick reminder that if you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to share it or leave us a review. And while you're at it, I recommend checking out some of the other podcasts on InvestorIdeas.com. That includes the Clean Tech and Climate Change podcast, as well as the Cannabis podcast, either of which will bring you up to speed on the latest stock news and trends in their respective spaces. So Bitcoin has shown relative stability in the past 24 hours, hovering sort of around the $34,000 to $35,000 US area, according to data from CoinMarketCap. Now, while this is still not quite near its all-time high trading price reached just within the past week, specifically Friday, January 8th, and that was just under $42,000, it is still sitting comfortably above the low seen in its most recent crash of about $30,500. Reuters reports that Christine Lagarde, the president of the European Central Bank, has called for global regulation of Bitcoin, saying that the digital currency had been used for money laundering activities in some instances, and that any loopholes needed to be closed. Speaking in an interview at the Reuters Next conference, Lagarde said, quote, "Bitcoin is a highly speculative asset which has conducted some funny business and some interesting and totally reprehensible money laundering activity. There has to be regulation. This has to be applied and agreed upon at a global level, because if there is an escape, that escape will be used." End quote. We have, of course, heard all of this before, but Christine Lagarde is a person of some consequence, so it felt noteworthy to include. Diginex Limited, which trades on the Nasdaq under the ticker symbol EQOS, has entered into definitive agreements with institutional investors to raise aggregate gross proceeds of approximately $38.6 million through the private placement of its equity securities. The company's CEO, Richard Byworth, explained, quote, "We are pleased to announce this private placement offering, which will allow us to continue to invest in our business and execute on our business plan. We rolled out our Bitcoin perpetual futures contract earlier this month, representing the first derivative product to launch on EQOS, our cryptocurrency exchange. Following the completion of this raise, we intend to accelerate the rollout of our product roadmap across the ecosystem." End quote. CryptoStar Corp., which trades on the TSXV under the ticker symbol CSTR, has signed a non-binding letter of intent with a Hong Kong-based company effective January 12, 2021 to acquire GPU miners in exchange for CryptoStar common shares. CryptoStar's president and CEO David Jellens said, quote, "We are delighted that the vendor has selected CryptoStar as its preferred client for the supply of the highly sought-after GPU mining equipment. We are looking forward to self-mining on a larger scale, and we anticipate that this will be the beginning of a long-term and mutually beneficial relationship." End quote. That does it for today's Crypto Corner. If you would like to be a guest or sponsor for this podcast, contact InvestorIdeas.com. Investor Ideas reminds all listeners to read our disclaimers and disclosures on the InvestorIdeas.com website, and this podcast is not an endorsement to buy products, services, or securities. Investors are reminded all investment involves risk and possible loss of investment. To hear more InvestorIdeas.com podcasts, please visit InvestorIdeas.com/audio. And a reminder, you can also hear our podcasts on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio.com, and Google Play Music. For disclosure purposes, Integrated Ventures Inc. is a PR, news, and social media featured company on InvestorIdeas.com.